Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Monday night episode of Not Another Rangers podcast. I'm your host, Gary, and it's transfer deadline day. Not that you would know by the lack of business that's happening around Scotland, England, and the rest of the world at this moment in time. As a transfer deadline special, that's what the focus will be on. So they may be done in 5 minutes because there's a lot of business. But we'll talk through some of the stuff around what's been happening in the world of transfers and the people that came and went over this last month. And we'll pick up some of the stuff maybe happening around some of your memories. So rack your brains, Ricky and Scott. I'm not told just some of your memories about transfer deadline signings and changes and things that happened over the last few years. Trying to think of some exciting ones. So how are we, Scott, tonight?
Just down for work, Gary. I'm running about like a blue-arsed fly, so all it kind of I've been poked through a hedge. It's pissing rain outside, just running, shoved this studio and sat down, so I'm fine. I hate doing 12-hour shifts, Gary. I do my boxing, but needs must.
And yourself, Ricky, how's you?
Yeah, mate, I woke up all excited thinking, oh, yes, transfers. I've been asleep for 5 hours. We're going to sign everyone. Went on to X, and then Chris Jack, as he usually does, dispelled all the rumours and put a grenade into transfer day. So our transfers are all over, so that was a waste of time. So, but apart from that, all good, mate. Looking forward to speaking about Rangers.
Well, and I'm looking at the comments already, so I see one on about Aaron Ramsey, one of the big transfer deadline signings.
Oh, good one.
So get them in the comments as we go through some of your big successes and failures over the transfer deadline over the years. I think it is, and I'll get this one out of the way now. It's 20 years ago, almost to the day, that Barry Ferguson returned in one of the biggest transfer deadline specials when you had Jim White with his yellow tie on, and those were the days when it was exciting and dramatic, and Peter Odemwingie try to drive his way to another place and things like that. That was back then. Now it's a guy no one to go to. Was it Nicholas Tell? Do I go to Tottenham? Oh, nobody else wants me, so I'll go to Tottenham. And I'm sure the fans will be loving that as that happens this week. So today we did make a signing, Scott. We signed a pre-contract, probably one of the worst known pre-contract signings over the course of the month. Lyle Cameron, 22-year-old midfielder. You know a lot more about players sometimes than we do. So what do you know?
You just think about what, Gary?
You scout and things like that. You should know.
I've not done that for a while, Gary. I think he's a good signing for us. Scottish, isn't he? He's somebody kind of position we need, and you need to sign players for your own league as well. I feel, and plus obviously being homegrown, which is good. And it's not going to cost us a lot of money. He's not going to burn a big hefty wage like some of them. And he's got ability. He's also got potential to improve. And I think he just has to come in and settle well. I know when Barron came in, he hit the ground running and he's kind of levelled out a bit with injuries and stuff. But I think along with Barron, he's going to be a really good signing. He'll be a squad player essentially, but he will play a lot of games as well. So it's good to have a big squad, Gary, but especially with some Scottish contingent in it, because we can't have a squad full of foreigners, because that's how we're spending so much money, especially in wages. And players for down south as well, they get more wages than anybody because you have to entice them up here. Mm-hmm. So it's good to have boy Leo come in. He's got ability, he scores goals, he can create goals. But apart from that, I've not seen him hundreds, but what I've seen I've liked. But when you're playing for Dundee, it's totally different when you're playing Rangers, because obviously everybody knows the jersey savior. But the way teams play against you is totally different. Yeah, he probably come in and ask Conor Barron that, and he'll tell him exactly that. So it's good to get him in. I don't think there's any rush to get him in just now, because I don't feel we need him just now. I think this summer, once another few players maybe get out the door and we can't afford to buy Kearney, etc., because I think it's going to be too much for us. I think it'll be good to get him in there and get a pre-season under him before they kick off for next season. But it's a good signing. It's the one I want. There's a few other players in Scotland like to come in as well, but that's not up to me.
Yeah. And Ricky, when Lyle Cameron, I'll be lying if I said I knew a lot about him. You've kind of read that a wee bit. He's a box. Is it box to box that we call him nowadays? He's quite attacking, quite creative, but a lot of energy about the park. And he fits our profile of a very diminutive player. Seems we like to have a lot of small players in our team.
Good point. No, he's good numbers. His numbers are better than Barami, so who we paid a lot of money for. So, and it gives us that Scottishness in the squad, mate. I think you need that. You need your local players to bounce off with the foreign lads. So for me, it was a no-brainer. We spoke. It's been on our radar now for about a year, 6 months. Everyone was saying to get it done It was one of the Scottish boys, where people mentioned him, and Watson as well from Kilmarnock, and also Lennon Miller as well, which I don't think it's going to happen for us. I think he's going to be out of our price range. But to get him in, I totally agree with Kerr. I wouldn't be bringing him in now. We've got players back, and the games that we've got coming up, our squad can handle that, no problem. And how exciting was it at the weekend to start seeing some of these young boys again? Just that 45 minutes for Rice. So it's always great seeing Scottish boys in your team. And I'm sure if he does like what John Brown is, the last one I remember coming from Dundee, he did not too bad in a Rangers jersey. So if Cameron can have 50% of the rub that Bomber had playing for Rangers, then he'll do for me.
What was it, John Brown? Did he not score against Rangers, but against Souness, and Souness was raging the bottom no long afterwards?
He kicked him. He kicked him 6.
Game as well. It was a 4-3 defeat or something like Rangers had. I remember that something rings a bell. Then not long after.
He kicked him 6 feet in the air, and as soon as he done that, Souness was like, "I love this kid. Get him." He was mental in the game, and Souness was just like, "I love this kid. Get him signed at half time." So the rest is history, So if he has somebody's saying Glenn Kamara, forgot about him. So yeah, but same as that, if he comes from Dundee and manages to step up, then it'll be a great signing, and it's good to see that these players are on our radar. Coppin spoke about it quite a lot. He wants to snap up one Scottish talent every year, and everyone was going on about Barron a few years ago, Cameron a few years ago. So it's great that we're managing to get these guys in, and I'm sure he'll settle right in the summer. He seems like he's got a bit about him as well, confident lad. He's been sticking out like a sore thumb in that Dundee team for a few seasons now. So for a great deal for us to get that over the line.
Is he sticking with that? Do you know, talking about Scottish players then? So I was watching just before we came on there, the West Ham game, Ricky, and I suppose his name, Andy Irving, is it, that's starting in the midfield for him. If I remember rightly, he was a Hearts substitute a lot of time. He never really quite went through Hearts and went away. He's fostered a bit of career and he's back now in the Premier League. Do you think sometimes we are, I suppose, snobbish or critical of the Scottish players and don't really rate them as contributing?
They get 5 minutes, Gary. It's ridiculous. I look at the other European game last week with the guy that came on and he got 10 minutes and he got absolutely crucified by a 10-minute appearance. Fans need to calm down, These guys, Egerman's getting it right now, man. Egerman, it's like these people are saying, "Oh, you've got to play him as a striker. He can't play as a 10. He can't play on the left. He's not played well for 2 games." It's like, guys, he's 21 or 22-year-old from Morocco. Every young player in the world is going to have good games and bad games. If you think you're going to sign any player, and the level was so high that he set for himself, that a player's going to do that every single week, you're living in cuckoo land, man. It's no fantasy football. It's no FIFA. It's proper men's football. And fans just need to calm down and have a bit more realistic expectations when it comes to these young guys,
Scott, do you think are you surprised at some of the other players that are out of contract in Scotland? Your Danny Armstrongs and a certain Mr. Shankland and a few others maybe haven't agreed deals with other clubs yet?
I think they're working obviously to get deals with, but when you're on a pre-contract, when they're free to end the season, they've got time to sit and wait. Do you know what I mean? If they don't get a deal now, they'll get one in the summer. It might not be their first choice, but they will get something. Shankland, especially, I thought it doesn't matter where he goes. I think Lawrence will score goals. Armstrong, I can see why folks are attracted to him, but I think Kilmarnock's his level, to be honest with you. I don't think he can maybe rise any higher than that, but that's just coming from me. Everybody's different opinion-wise. But you can see that. I mean, there's like Lennon Miller's a lot of talk about Lennon. I know Celtic in for a bid supposed to be according to media. I think, to be honest with you, he'll probably end up down south or abroad somewhere. I think that's probably the best place for him to go because of what Motherwell's asking for. Because I think they're asking for about 2-3 million. And it's not a lot of money these days, Gary, but it's a lot of money maybe for a team up here asking for it. Because with the snobbish in this again, if you're down south and you think, oh, somebody from Scotland should be cost peanuts. Well, if you're playing English League One, then they're asking for 5, 7, 10 million for you. You're thinking there's not much of a difference here because a lot of players up here can go down there and do really well. So there's a lot of good players up here, Gary, but like you said, and like you said, it's about giving the guys a chance. And until they get that chance, we'll never can tell. So as fans, we like the big signings, we like the foreigners coming in, we like big names coming in, but sometimes they don't work up here. And then you got other people. I'm old enough to remember when we signed Stuart Monroe for Alloa, left back, and Stuart Monroe was a great left back. Bobby Russell, I think he came for the juniors. Bobby Russell, I think it was somebody could probably correct me, but probably Paul Juniors he came for or something. Do you know what I mean? So me and my buying Ian Ferguson for St Mirren as well, and I think he was about 825,000 or something at the time. I could be wrong, but how good was he when he joined Rangers? I mean, he won every league and never really put a foot wrong, did he? But I always remember Ian Ferguson saying he preferred playing away games because it was playing at Ibrox. The Scottish players seem to get the abuse more than the foreigners, but that's just fans in general. That's just fickle. It's like I get man now. Ricky mentioned he's a bit on social media, but he's a young guy. He gives his own games. Yeah, he's going to have good games and bad games. I mean, we all don't go to work every day and do as good as done maybe previous day, the day after. It's just life. We're all human beings. So, but I like to see us going down the young route, Gary, because I'm fed up bringing in guys and then they're on big wages and you struggle with them. I'd rather give some youth a chance before we start paying out big money again. Because we've been down that road a good few times and it doesn't take us anywhere apart from trouble.
Yeah. So I suppose that kind of leads us on. We're talking about youth, and the other big news today, Ricky, was that, or Scott broke it in a transfer deadline special. Scott broke it in a group chat earlier on that Zach Lovelace was in talks with Millwall to so after 3 years, I think it's 3 years at Ibrox maybe, he was heading back to his former club, and I think they'd agreed a deal. He's probably going to leave. Some will say he never had much of a chance. Some will say he was injury prone. Some will say he maybe was good enough, as Scott said. Who knows? But what's your thoughts, I suppose, on Zach leaving us or potentially leaving us?
It was a little bit disappointed because I do think that there is something with the kid, but I totally agree. He's been injured for a lot of that 3 years. It's not a case of he's came in and he's been fit all the time and he's been available for selection and that. He got a little chance, or even the game that he came in, if you remember, Steve Davis gave him his opportunity against St Mirren and he was outstanding in the first half, but he got injured in that game, and then that's how McCausland ended up taking and getting his chance because he was unfit after that. We never seen him for 6 months after that, so he is a little bit made of glass. But no, I wish the kid. I mean, at the end of the day, he's just a kid. It's no, there is talent there, but it's no massive loss for us, to be honest with you. If he's chosen Millwall, he's apparently they're treating him as a proper first team player. His salary is going to be a lot more than what we were offering, so. If that's the case, good luck to the lad. I hope it works out for him down in England. He has got a big reputation, and I hope he does well down there. But for me, what's interesting for me is I don't know what has changed, but something's definitely changed at our club since I think we touched a little bit about it on Monday. But we went from and it's brilliant. I wish it had been done earlier. I'm absolutely loving it, but. We've went from seeing Dillwall, Lawrence, all that sort of stuff. Now we're bringing on the young players first, and it should have been done ages ago. But finally, we're getting to see, because you watch like Rice on Sunday, and I tell you what, Gary, you guys are the same. As soon as you see some players playing for Rangers first team, you just know that they're going to make it, and he is that sort of player, and that's not to put too much pressure on him. You're wondering how we got from Rice for Lovelace, but what I'm saying is when you give these guys an opportunity and they stay fit, some of them you just put in that team, and it's just, and Nsiala at the back as well. Wow, just sensational, both of them. So we've got to give these guys a chance and give them a proper chance as well. And I love that the manager stuck with Nsiala in defence. Lovelace probably could have got that chance going forward, but he's chosen Millwall. Good luck to the lad. But now, if these players play well, let's keep them in the team, Rice could step into our starting 11 right now, no issue whatsoever. NCR was staying in that starting 11, and if he keeps playing the way he is, proper rate getting back into that defence, because he's been sensational since he's came in. Okay, the first game against Dundee was a bit ropey. So if these young lads get the chance, they come in, then keep them in the team, because that's the way that we need to go moving forward.
Yeah, no, definitely, and we'll come back to some of those younger players later on. So, Scott, when we were talking just off the air about Lovelace and how he's returned Millwall. You're talking some Millwall podcasts. Is it quite a big move for them? Are they quite impressed with the thought of him coming back?
They didn't want to lose him the first time when he was there, because he was coming through their ranks and they thought he was the next big thing, and then next minute he refused a contract for them when he came to us, and I'm being to pay a lot for it. It was only across the border. I don't think we actually paid anything. I could be wrong, but because it was cross the border. So, but they decided to get bring him back. But they've bought, I think, 6 or 7 players this window. So he maybe find himself down the pecking order. Do you know that way? But listen, he's getting back home to where he came from. He's from that area. He's getting back to the club he knows. He's getting a decent wage, and I think that's all falling in place. Right? He's up here. He was in and out of the team because of injuries. He done well, and you thought keep him in the side, and then he got other injuries, and it's just a shame for him because you could see he has something about him. He was a big lad. He was strong. He could get the ball into the box. He could score. He was good attacking wise, and you just have to move on, Gary. He's had his time here. He goes back to England. We wish him all the best. Hopefully he does well, and hopefully Rangers have put some selling involved in this, because I wouldn't like to see us not do that. But no, and I see you getting a bit of slagging in the comments, Ricky. Listen, what I will say about Clement is you have to give him credit for bringing young guys in, but I just hope when everybody's back fit, he doesn't revert back to type and goes back to guys who've been more experienced and leaves young guys out and then they stagnate again. That's my only thing, because a lot of these players have been brought in because of injuries. If it wasn't for injuries, would we have seen Nsiala, would we have seen Rice, would we have seen Curtis? The answer is probably no. But because of that, they've come in and they've took their chance and they're showing they're very capable. Mm-hmm. And because they're showing they're capable, it means they should stay there. They should be given first team slots, should be given minutes in the part on a regular basis. So I'm hoping, because he's rid of the other players like Dill and Lawrence is still here, but maybe if we get rid of him and a few others, then it shows you he's going down that route. But you know yourself, Gary, once results go the other way, fans do say, why do you not play the experienced guys? Young guys only. Do you know what I mean? So it can cut either way, but it's good to see. I would rather young guys started, like I said. It's good to see him in the team, and I think between now and the end of the season, because I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but I think the league's gone. I don't think there's enough games left. I don't think they'll drop the points we need to catch them. So I think a lot of these young guys should be given lots of minutes in the league games just to see what they can do between now and the end of the season. Then it gives us all an idea if we can trust them next season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So one of the other signing then, Ricky, we made slightly earlier on the window was Rafael Fernandez, and we've seen a first glimpse of him on Sunday. I think in the last 15 minutes. Now it's hard to judge considering Ross County were abysmal and never really offered anything. But again, that's the profile of a younger player, big strapping, 6'3" centre half. I don't know if you've seen him in the game, and I suppose what your thoughts are on that type of signing.
Well, he's bigger than 6'3". I heard he's like 6'6" or something. He was massive, man, when he came on. But what we needed. But first of all, I'll say it was great to see John Souttar back. He, for me, is our number one defender at the back. But this guy got minutes, but I don't think he's going to get in. It's going to be that easy for him to get in the team right now, right? Because I really like the potential in that partnership between Souttar and Nsiala. But when he came on, I mean, like you said, the game was done. Ross County, it was an easy. But I would probably play him. I would at least give him 45 minutes for the cup game on Sunday and see what he can do. And okay, it's going to be an easy game for him, stroll through it again. But he looks like he's got a little bit about him. It's difficult to judge 10 minutes in. It'll be the big games coming up. We need to see. But how many minutes is he going to get between now and the end of the season? That's the story, because if Souttar's fit, Nsiala's basically nailed down that left centre back. You've got Proper as well. Suddenly it's raining centre backs, you know. So we'll see what he can do. But what'll be interesting to see. It's always these tough games away from home. Like you saw Nsiala when he played against Dundee. So it's a game like that where you'll really see what Fernandez is all about when he goes to St Mirren. The wind is 35, 50 knots, blowing in his face, and the ball's all over the place, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? And he's got a striker running off him and running left and running right. That's when we're going to see what the guy's all about. But it looks like a decent signing on paper. Another young player to get into the squad, and if he can stay fit, then it looks like he'll be a good addition. He comes with a big reputation, you know. So it's definitely it looks like. And to be fair to Coppin, like the players that he's not really spent that much money on, we've done really, really well with. You know, your Rigaman, Nsiala. So if he can come in and be one of them, then fantastic, you know.
So that's the players in, and it looks like that almost 9 o'clock at night, there ain't going to be any other signs in the next 2 hour window. I think they've already pretty much come out and briefed some other media journalists to say that there will be no more signings. I suppose you always look, Scott, to come out of a window stronger than you went into it, right? So you could look at that many different ways. I suppose we are going to look at it more about reduction in wages, get rid of players off the club that are probably not contributing. So we've seen, I think, Matondo's away last week, Dowell's away last week. We've obviously lost Lowry left during the window, and now potentially Lovelace. So again, it's some ways clearing the deck, starting to allow us to rebuild for next season. Is that the kind of way we're starting to look at it? Bring right wages down, get this position where we can make a proper fist in the summer to sign the right players.
I think we had to get a wage bill down. We had to get rid of some of the dead wood in the squad because some of the players in the squad weren't contributing. Plus, even when they did play, they weren't offering anything anyway. So I think it's time we had to get rid of some of the wage bill down. Some of them are getting far too much money for doing hee-haw. So it's good. That's good to see. But a lot of these guys will be back. There's only so many of them. It's maybe Atondo might be back if they don't take their option to buy. Double could be back. Cifuentes will be back, won't he? So, and obviously Lowry signed, Lovelace signed, but there's a few others on that list. All the young guys are coming back. So the wage bill's away just now, but it will come back a wee bit once all these guys come back. So it's great getting them out in loan, Gary, but when you're bringing someone on back, it's not great either. Do you know that way? Plus the player that's already there. So I think there's a bit more to be done. And I still don't know if Clement's might take us forward, but I know the board have backed them. By giving them things. I know they're bringing in that assistant manager and stuff like that. So I think he's going to be here for a wee while unless it goes pure tits up next season. We're 13 points behind Celtic again, like we are just now, and those 10 just now we've got game in hand. And if that's the case, then a European win doesn't save him for me, but we'll give him to the end of the season and see how things go in the summer. But we had to get a wage bill down. That was one thing because it wasn't just Clement's fault. It was the previous managers, but mainly the board for bringing in guys and giving them far too much money to come here. But like I said, when you're bringing up players from England, doesn't matter where you're coming from England, they're going to have to give them 15-20% more than any other club because to entice them up to Scotland. Because some of them don't like coming and playing in Scotland. Do you know what I mean? Because they still have their doubts about is it being a good league or not, and then they come up here and they kind of cut it. But you also have to give them more. When you're bringing somebody from abroad, you might not have to give them as much because you're not enticing them to come somewhere because they might think this is a stepping stone to somewhere else. Whereas bringing them up from England, even if it's a championship, they're like, right, if I'm coming to you, I want $2,000 more off of you than they have somebody else just because it's Scotland. So I think we have to be clever and we were buying. I like we were going with Morocco and other places like this and further afield we're looking, not just down south. So it's good that way. But I think it'll be interesting. Someone's a lot of names like Ridvan, there's Sterling, Dessers, who to me could probably go. I like Sterling, but he's not contributing because of his injuries. Dessers I would get rid of before he becomes too old and you can't get him. Tavernier I would get rid of as well. Danilo's 50-50 because his injury list. So there's still a lot in there you want rid of before you even rebuild for next season.
Yeah. I suppose I would question you on the one Danilo one. So Danilo you're 50-50, but despite probably higher wages and a £6 million signing and all was injured, Coutinho be more of a.
I like him, Gary, and I'll say that. And I'll say I think when he's up front with me, Igaman will look better. I know you probably don't, but I think Danilo Igaman looks a far better player than he does when he's playing with Dessers because when he plays with Dessers, he's shunted out to the left, and I think he struggled a wee bit out there because I think he prefers being more central. Whereas when Danilo goes back into 10, I think he plays it better. Yeah, his goal scoring has not been great and his injuries not been great, but I think Danilo's a really good footballer. But like I say, it's just me. But I think he's still got something he can offer us, whereas others I don't because of his age and everything else.
I don't get me wrong. I do think obviously injuries can be unlucky, but there comes a point when I do we look the other on. So we've got 6 first-team players that injured, Ricky, and I think they are Sterling, Balogun, Ridvan, Barron, Cortez, and Danilo, unless I'm missing them. 5 of those are always injured.
The thing is, right, the starting 11 that we had on Saturday, I really liked that starting 11, right? The only one I would change up front, so I'm away to start crucifying him again in the chat, is Dessers, because listen, He's went through an unbelievable purple patch, but let's see where we are in the next couple of months with Dessers. Danilo's injured again, so let's see where we are. But see that starting 11 that started on Saturday, their players are always available. They're always fit. They're always so that to me is a good. And we need to find the money for Czerny, mate. We have to. If we let a guy like Czerny, we've just managed to find after 10 years a right winger that scores goals and gives us assists, and we're going to let him go for 6.7 million. And I know people will go, oh yeah, but there's no sell-on value. We can sign other players that have got sell-on value. We need to start winning shiny things again. And you need a player like Czerny if you're going to start winning trophies. So for me, we'll have to find that 6.7 million to sign for Czerny. But you're totally right. If we go into next season, right, you can see the amount of games that you've got to play now over December and January. You need 2 starting 11s, and it doesn't matter who you are. So if we are going forward next season with players like Sterling, Yilmaz, Danilo, I don't think Balogun will get a new deal. I think Balogun and Lawrence will be away, right? These guys have almost got to be. You've got to have 22 players. You're starting 11 and your second starting 11, and you've got to make sure these guys are always fit. And then the players on top of that, you've got to include the players that are injured all the time, and just hope that they can somehow stay fit and they're contributing throughout the season. Because the big problem for Coman, and it's been a massive problem since he came in, is every time we go into an Old Firm game, in most games, we've got 10 players out, you know, and that's just unsustainable for any manager. How can any manager, no matter who you are, compete for trophies and he said he was going to fix it, and hopefully now he's starting to understand that some of these players are just unfixable. Will Hagi leave? I would try and keep Hagi. I think he's been really good. He's matured a lot since all this has been going on, since this injury and sort of like 3 seasons. I see a lot more maturity in Hagi, and sometimes we forget the age of these players. Your Hagi, your Raskins, they're still young boys. Raskin's still a young boy, but these players have matured, and I can really see us building. We can start to see us building something really good, but we need like Hagi's. He's giving numbers. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. So Hagi's. It's always going to depend on money. It depends how cheeky it is. I don't know how much he's on. Say he's on 25 just now. He's quite a high earner, and we go and offer him 15. I don't think he'll sign that. But maybe if you offer him 20 rather than 25, then he might sign it. I would try and put a deal in front of him. I believe we've not offered him a deal yet, but let's see. Let's see what's going on.
I suppose just you've got me thinking there. So just picking up on that and maybe moving beyond Hagi then, not just Hagi. We've got a number of players out of contract, and I can't remember who they all are off the top of my head, but Hagi, Lawrence, Balogun, I think you said. I'm trying to think who else, so please chip in if you can remember them. But they are kind of remnants of the past in some ways. The wages that we're paying, it's been made pretty clear by the chief exec that the wages of the last few years is the things that's been crippling us. So I suppose the question is then, can we actually afford to keep some guys like Hagi? Do you just need to start again? And he's not going to accept 15 grand when he can get that in the League One in England, is it? Do you know? So I think for some of these, well, you might want to keep them, the reality of being able to keep them is probably vastly different.
But it depends on the manager. The manager has to offer them what we see is fair. And what if he, like Hagi is a first team player, he's a starter for us right now. If you look at if we're playing our European tie this week or we're playing Celtic, Hagi starts on the left-hand side for us. So Czerny is a player that contributes for us. So you have to, these guys are worth like the salary that you're paying for them because they're always fit and they're contributing numbers. The difference with a player like Lawrence or a Balogun is you're still paying these guys decent money, but they're never fit, Gary. They're not contributing. Lawrence, that's never going to change, man. Players like him, you see them for 3 months, he's good, and then he's injured again. It's ridiculous. Like our injuries, I've never seen anything like it with these players. Danilo now, he was 2 weeks. He was out for 2 weeks. We've not seen him for 5 weeks. For God's sake, man, it's absolutely ridiculous. So we need to get rid of these players. We've got too many. The squad has to be 20, sort of 3-4 players that are fit all the time and contributing. And then your other players that are okay, if we're going to keep a few that we can't get rid of because they're on too high a money, then we need to phase these players out. But it's very difficult to move them on. But I actually think Coppin's done a good job of that in this window. We need to keep doing that, you know.
Still Jack Butland, he has wages to Hagi.
There's a question of saying that Suter signed a new contract, not that I'm aware of. I think he signed a new contract. Was it last year? I can't remember when Suter signed a new contract. Did he not sign an extended contract last season? Or earlier in the season?
I think I can't remember when he signed one. He did sign one, but I can't remember when it was.
I think he's got a couple of years left anyway.
I wouldn't give him an extension now because he's too injury prone as well. But listen, when John's fit, he's probably he's the first name as a centre back for us. But it's getting John fit, and he went through a while where he was quite fit and he was playing regular, and then he had that injury and it went pear-shaped again. But when he's on his game, he's probably the best centre back. We kind of all know that anyway, and it's just getting somebody to pair up with him. But I think when you're putting the squad Gary down, and you have to trim your squad down, you have to need a number. That's why you have to use younger guys, and then you can maybe pay 2 or 3 players more money because you're paying younger guys less till they improve and show their worth more. So you could keep the likes of Hagi and Tierney. Will want to keep, but I don't know if we'll offer that money. I just don't know if we'll offer that money. I think it depends on what happens between who else goes out and how much money we make off European one and stuff like that. So, or if it could bring us in maybe another couple. If we get maybe one in for Jeff Day in the Chelsea in the summer or something like that, then the money's there. But it just depends. But I would like Tierney to stay. But the more he plays, the better he plays. He's going to have suitors again. There's Suter again getting mentioned. They're going to have suitors for elsewhere, isn't he? And then if he gets one from maybe down south or back in Germany or Spain or something, he's maybe going to grab that. But listen, if he enjoys it here, you never know. Some players just find the club and they like it and they don't want to leave. Doesn't matter if they get offered more money here at somewhere else. I'm happy here. My family's happy here, and I'm willing to stay here, and I want to stay here. So I think, to be honest with you, I think that's how Hagi feels about Rangers. I'm not just saying that. I think Hagi is really happy here, and I think his performances since he's come back has shown that, and I think he loves the club, even though what he's went through, and I criticise him for asking to go, but since he's come back, he's proved me wrong, and if he wants to say I'll happily stay and I'll not take as much money as I was on, but like I say, if you sell players or you cut the squad down, you can give him a wee bit more. But I think he's important. I think he is very important. You can see it in some games he may be in and out of games, but that's what players do. But when he's in a game like Tierney can be quiet for 75 minutes, so can Hagi, but they can do something like that and it creates a goal or it scores you a goal. Like Tierney's shot on Sunday and then Hagi gets a rebound, whereas that should be in your centre forward, but Hagi's quick enough because he's got up there to move in. But then you can be quiet again for 10 minutes and they do something else and it's 2-0. Do you know what I mean? These guys are worth the money because they can do stuff to win your games instead of just running back and forth. Like, I mean, effort for football players should be there anyway. It doesn't matter how good or how bad you are. So instead of just saying, I bet he gives 100%, everybody should, but it's what they do when they get the ball. And Hagi and Tierney at this moment in time are 2 guys that we may lose one, but we can really afford to lose 2.
Yeah. So see, coming out, so last question, I suppose, on the transfer window. As we come out the transfer window, then have we left ourselves short, Scott? I'll go with Ricky first. Like, have we left ourselves short in anywhere? So much as people are saying the league's gone, we still have a European trophy to compete for, as well as a Scottish Cup. So have we? Are we struggling in a position?
Oh, well, mate, we in Europe we've got Ross McCausland at right back to have centre back, so we pull miracles out of the hat. We could play, and remember, if we were in the final, we had Joe Aribo up front, so I don't think Europe matters. We can put square pegs in round holes, and it seems to work for us. So for me, the window, I'm happy with the window. I'm very happy we got all these players out, and I know what Scott's saying, but if they play well, then hopefully they get permanent moves. So we should be bringing in quite a lot of money in the summer. So for me, I'm quite happy. I would have hated, like some of the players were being linked with, like Chelsea academy players on loan and stuff. I would have absolutely hated to be playing games coming up and our players are not on the bench and we're watching other teams' players playing for Rangers. We've been screaming for years for these players to get a chance, the youth players to get a chance. Now they're finally going to get a chance. So let's see what they can do between now and the end of the season. And we've still got, like, our bench is not all full of youth players. You've got to remember, all these players are coming back, supposed to be soon. Sterling, who else have we got? Danilo's coming back soon. Cortez is coming back soon. So if these guys are coming back soon as well, we should start to see a good mixture on the subs bench with youth players and experienced players. So for me, I'm very happy. I'm not going to pretend, sit here and say it's been the best window ever since I started supporting Rangers. Far from it. But for me, I like the way that the club is going forward, and I like the fact that we're going to give these young players a chance. So I'm very, very happy. The league is done. We're 13 points. There's no way they're going to drop 13 points between now and the end of the season. So we should be building for the Champions League qualifier next season. That should be we should have all our players in place, and Clermont should be preparing for that match. The start of next season, we need to get into that Champions League and get some of that money, and we need to hit the ground running, because it doesn't matter what people are saying in the chat and digging us out about what was said about Clermont or what was said about Dessers. If we start the season next season like we started this season, and it doesn't matter if we lose Yefte, we lose Egerman, we lose whoever, the excuses are over for Clermont. We've got some big games coming up, Hearts away, Kilmarnock away. So let's see where we are after these matches. But the excuses are done. The manager's still on life support machine. So we'll see what happens between now and the end of the season.
So let's go to the game, right? We'll go to the game yesterday, then we'll come back to it. I want to finish a wee bit more transfer stuff again. So yesterday was as routine a win as a routine win can be. Really, it was pretty much from early on comfortable, Scott. We scored it was the most exciting of games. The team lineup was as you expect. Nsiala came in proper, get rested. Other than that, it was pretty full strength. There was maybe a bit of a clamour for some of the younger players to start. But by half time, the game's done. We're 3-0 up. Hagi scored twice, and John Souters scored. We scored from another set piece, I believe. I suppose the first goal, I'm curious, right, so I watched the highlights for it back in. We scored the first goal. Cherny cuts in as he often does. People don't seem to grasp that. He shoots, keeper saves it. Hagi taps it in. There was the strangest couple of minutes we were looking at an offside, which I've watched a few times now, trying to work out where they're keeping an offside. But first half, comfortable.
Very comfortable, Gary, and I have to say, I thought Nsiala was superb. It was his pass to Cherny, wasn't it? And I thought Raskin was superb again. Listen, Raskin's been the guy, he drives this team on, and always said if he got a run of games, he would prove himself to be the type of player we need. And I just feel he has to be your main man in midfield next season. The Mandy's still there with him. They're getting better, but I still we want to be a bit more for deal. But Raskin's just superb at what he does. Doesn't matter who he's going against. He plays the same way. He does the same stuff. He wins his tackles. He gets the ball moving forward. Either the wee sideways pass to somebody who knows can get it forward, or he passes forward himself. And it's just, the guy's superb, and that's how I keep saying for next season Raskin should be captain, Gary. I know that doesn't favour you because you're a big Taff fan, but I think going forward, Raskin's a man you get a captaincy. I think he plays like a captain. I know everybody should in their eyes, but I think he does. The way he's always in the ref's face, cheekily, but he's always in the ref's face asking stuff, pointing stuff out. He tries to control the game. He's talking to other players in the park. I just think what he does is he's really, since he's come back, he's been really, really good. And if I was Clermont, you'd one of the guys I'd ball my team in next season, but we do have to start a season next season on fire, because it's for too long we start a season poor and then we're trying to catch up, and it's catching up, it's getting us like this season. Yeah, we played well recently, but people forget this. We only started playing well when we were 13 points behind. You know what I mean? We could have been a lot closer, but due to the way we played and some of the tactics we managed and some of the way some other players are playing or stuff like that, it didn't work for us. So we're playing well just now, but I don't want to keep looking back. So next season we have to focus straight away. So that's why we have to do what he does. He has to give the young players a game and keep playing the way we're playing. I enjoyed the game yesterday. The second half wasn't great, as you know, Gary, but I thought the first half we were comfortable. And there's been a lot of games this time this season against teams like Ross County and Dundee that we have not looked comfortable. Yeah. But yesterday we were comfortable. And it was too easy at times. I know we probably took our foot off the gas, but I thought it was a one that was always going to happen. And it was good to see us getting a penalty, Gary, eventually. You know, I'd won all season in the league, so it was good to see that happen, because I never thought it would happen again, but it was good to see that happen.
But you know, it's funny, when we got the penalty, I said to my daughter, I was like, I wonder if he'll actually know what to do now. It's that long since he's actually hit one. And fun enough, he had it differently than he normally does, doesn't it? He's kind of just rolled it to the side rather than normally whips it.
Yeah, good penalty.
But Ricky, obviously you watched the game as well. Just, I don't want to get into everything in detail. So just your general thoughts on the game, some of the players that stood out to you.
Yeah, no, very happy with we spoke about it for the preview on Friday, that if we could get a few goals up, which we managed to do, 3-0 up at half time.
Somebody say 4-0. Did somebody say 4-0 in the preview? I can't remember.
Yeah, someone said 4-0, man. I'm starting to get all these right. Top 8, 4-0. Woohoo! Nah, it's but to be honest with you, mate, it was a dream scenario. Get 3-0 up after a European game. I mean, okay, listen, we took our foot off the gas at half time, but I mean, come on, everyone's expecting. They were there. They were absolutely there for a 6 or 7-0. That's for sure. But unfortunately, at half time, we sort of just played within ourselves the second half. But I agree, it was great to see. Raskin was outstanding again. Nsiala was man of the match for me personally. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Hagi, 2 goals, contributing again, following in. Cherny again looked very, very dangerous. The guy's just a machine when it comes to numbers, and that's what you need in the team. So, well, I mean, okay, Dessers and Egerman were a bit quiet, but we didn't need them. You know, you won 4-0, so it doesn't really matter who scores the goals. As long as you win, you can't complain about everything. But I absolutely loved Rice's appearance in the second half. And some people might go, oh yeah, he started really well, but he sort of drifted out of the game. But see what I love about Rice, he can play anywhere in midfield. He's an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. See that timing where, I mean, he's played 2 appearances recently against Man United and against Ross County, and he's had about 5 shots now. He needs to work on his shooting, but he actually hit the first one too sweet. It was a good save from the goalkeeper. He actually hit it too well, right across the goalkeeper. And then the second one, the defender made a good block where it was going. I was willing him to score in the second half. But you can see right away, there's some players like Barry Ferguson was the same. You just see them for the first time. And okay, I've seen Rice plenty of times in the B team and everything, but when you see him in the first team, the way that he moves, his brain, he knows where to be on the pitch. He's got that guile about him, and it was great to see him. We need to see more of him. Diamande as well, by the way. I didn't think he was fantastic, but what I do think, I think he's got a fantastic partnership with Raskin. I think they do a lot of work. Raskin's just amazing. Everything Raskin does is so clean, so crisp. His passing is brilliant. He breaks up the play, finds the right pass. He always breaks the lines, but he does it in a clever way as well. So a lot of, like as I said, that starting 11 was all players that don't really get injured, that are actually contributing, that can contribute to the team. When we're bringing these players back into our European squad, your Hagis, your Nsiala, maybe it's going to be a big choice between Danilo and Fernandes. I would probably go Danilo if he's fit, because I agree with Kerr that he is. I think the team is better with him and Egerman in the team, but I still think we need another striker for next year, because I don't think you can rely on Danilo. That's another conversation. But for me, I really like the 3 playing together, so that would be the 3 I would bring into the European squad. So good performance, good victory. St Johnstone and Ross County are both at the bottom of the league, and I tell you what, the league, we'll be doing ourselves a favour if we get rid of the 2 teams. Okay, but Kilmarnock, I think, are going to have a grass pitch for next season, so there's no excuses with that. But we'll be doing the league a favour if we get rid of the 2 teams, because really, Ross County is a gimme for us. Like, I mean, it was like a friendly at times on Sunday. Sorry.
So, Scott, just it seems I've seen you answered there. So the question from Paul McCorrickle was Lawrence get on. I actually thought, I can see the logic in Lawrence getting on. At the end of the day, he's going to be the squad for the rest of the season. He's in a European squad. He probably does need game time. But there was a few murmurs why one of the younger players didn't come on when it was 3-4-0 up. Can't hear you.
Well, I was pressing it doesn't work. The game's finished, so why not bring on Curtis? Give it some more minutes. I mean, get more experience playing at Ibrox and see what he can do against a team who know they're beaten. Maybe get him a goal or 2, create another goal. Lawrence will know what he can do. The manager knows what he can do. I didn't really need that many minutes. Do you know what I mean? I know he's going back for injury, but see, I feel week of rest and training. I could come up to speed. He's not going to start next game anyway, so I just feel that was a mistake. But listen, he's a manager for a reason. We aren't they? So if you wanted Tom on first, then he come on. Listen, I'm not against Tom Lawrence. I think we got him. I was excited about the signing because I always thought he was a decent player down south, and I always thought he could offer us something. It's just
goals, Chris, even this season. He
has. It's his legs have went, Gary, in a league up here. It's difficult in games because we need people, man. We need people and get them down apart, and Tom struggles with that. I know other players maybe say, well, Hagi doesn't do as much as that, or, do you know what I mean? But Hagi's awareness is really good, and he's a bit younger. But listen, if Lawrence was a couple of years younger, I would say keep him. But because his age, I think, come back down to England and finish his career there. And yeah, he's on a decent way, so it gets it all for us as well. But he's been a decent signing for us. Just been unlucky when we bought him. It was the tail end of his career. I'd have preferred that if he came up when he was younger, but that's the way things are. But no, listen, the manager's going to always play some of these guys because they do need minutes. But I think because next game against Queen's Park, he could have waited a week or two, couldn't he? Honest, he's just back for injury. And we're training every day anyway. I know they're getting out right enough from what last night, weren't they? They're all flying to London for something, so maybe that's how they chucked it halfway through the second half. But they were in their mind what they're going to do when they go down to the big city.
Yeah. And just to pick up the last player for Scott, sticking with you then. So Nsiala, Ricky's talked highly of him. He was probably the man of the match, but he was the man of the match of the game. He looks like he's developing quickly. That's just the first game against him. He was a bit ropey, or a bit nervous, but each game he's getting more and more confident. He's got a lovely left foot.
Scott, is for you.
So you, Scott, sorry.
You put, is your mute button broken, man?
No, something that's a question, and the dog was just wanting to close the floor there. I was wondering what he was up to. Walter's lying here, but Ali's a bit there. He's crying at the door, so he's in the toilet if he's looking to get through the kitchen, don't know. But Paul said there's a tap dancing, it's the way he walks, because his nails he cut. He goes, you can hear him.
He's not been on the pod for ages, man. He must be screaming for appearance money. He needs some treats.
It's a transfer deadline. He's for a move.
It's like for that cushion to that cushion. I don't even know what your question was, Gary.
Nsiala.
I'll speak about Nsiala. Let me speak about him, man. I mean, amazing, man. Absolutely unbelievable. I love when a player comes in like that. I think we overhype how players play in the B team sometimes, you know. And it was the same. There's been players in the past that you just sometimes and even the manager said it. He said it actually at the weekend. He was quite scathing about Rice as well when he watched him in the B team. But this guy was playing in the B team, and maybe his heart wasn't in it because he probably thought, okay, I've come to Rangers. Surely I'm going to be in the first team. At least I'm going to get opportunities. But since he's came in, that first game against Dundee, I thought it was a baptism of fire for him. But ever since then, he's been unbelievable. His passing is brilliant. He gives you that lovely balance on the left-hand side. And his passing, breaking the lines all the time. It's not just because I think in Scotland, that's a big thing that we need in our team. And Suter's very good at that. Suter's good at the long diagonals and breaking the lines with his passing. He carries the ball. Sometimes he carries it too much and gives you a bit of a heart attack. But Nsiala as well has got a lovely left foot, and he's pinging the balls in fast. Dessers and whoever else is trying to hold it up. So he breaks the lines very fast, and I think he's been amazing since he's came in the team. To be honest with you look at the difference. When Proper came in the team, Proper was all over the place, and he's settled down a bit now. But Nsiala's came in the team, and he's been an absolute revelation for me. So for me, that jersey now, he has to keep that jersey now. I know the manager was speaking at the weekend that you need to rotate your centre-backs because there's too many matches. Do you know how many centre-back pairings we've had this season?
7.
No, 10. 10. I think it was either 10 or 12. Sterling, Tavernier, King, Proper, Balogun. It's absolutely ridiculous how many partnerships we've had. I think it's a record for a season. But so hopefully now these two can hold their positions down, and we can get a settled defence, or maybe help Butland as well. I thought Butland, he didn't have anything to do yesterday. I mean, Jesus, he could have got the deck chair out. But having that settled back four of Tavernier, Nsiala, Suter, and Yefte with Butland in goal could be the way for us to go for the rest of the season, to give us that bit of stability. And then in front of them, you've got Raskin and Diamande. So suddenly, you've basically got 7 players that should be tattooed on the team sheet, to be honest. So for me, hopefully we can keep them fit and keep that as a base to build on for the rest of the season.
So I suppose I'm just a quick fire round we're going to do, right? So we've signed 9 players since this season. Let's rate them. Let's see how well they've done. Right. So, and literally once a rating 1 out of 1 being rubbish, 10 being outstanding, and one sentence, no more, Ricky. And each of them, so because we've got 5 minutes, so I'm going to go through them, right, and I want to get your opinions. So, Diamande.
7.
7, and one sentence describes them.
Getting better.
Scott.
6. Could do better.
He's a hard taskmaster. He's been outstanding the last couple of months, man. Jesus Christ. Get on Twitter, you. Stay on Twitter. You stay on Twitter, man. Stay on Twitter.
I want more from him because he's got more there.
He's got more there. He's
Right. So, Diamande, Scott, pick you first then, Bajrami.
Probably a 5, and he's finding it very difficult to settle in Scotland. I don't know if it's a league, I don't know if it's his personal life, but I think he's finding it very hard to settle.
Ricky?
Yeah, I would say 5, and the word I would use or sentence is disinterested sometimes, you know. And we need to see a bit more from him. He's got to actually, because he's not going to be given the jersey, which is good, so he's got to grab the jersey.
I think what he's not had is the moments that Czerny's had or Hagi. He's probably doing a lot of similar things, but not having those moments. First couple of games, he's some cracking assists.
Probably only Aberdeen away, Gary. He made that.
Old for him now. He does a job there. He's a big part of the team when they play Celtic. He does a good job on McGregor, but apart from that, it's not been good enough. Nowhere near.
He might just need time to settle. If he doesn't settle, then I think maybe need to look for a new league to play him, because maybe that.
Yes. And I think
various players take that time. You all know that.
You'll find a buyer for him, mate. He's one of the players. He's got a good agent.
If you get 9 players they've came from different countries. You know, I don't know what like for us. If we went to a different country, at least 1 or 2 of those 9 might not settle there, just for a whole host of reasons. It's
hard. It's not easy.
I go to Greenock, I want to come out of the road. I go to Greenock, I want to come home.
Big Tesco's good there though. So Baron, Ricky.
I'll go 6, but a harsh 6 because he started amazing, but I'm struggling to see. He needs to really buckle down now on the training ground, because I'm struggling to see. Rice is ahead of him for me now, so you've got Rice, Diamande, Raskin. I'm struggling to see where he fits in the team, to be honest. So he's got to show us that and prove us wrong, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Scott?
I'll probably say 6 as well, but I just think he's levelled off, Gary. He's had injuries as well, which has contained him. I just think he came in with a point to prove. Raskin wasn't there, so he had to take control of things at times and kind of step in and tackle and be the bit. When Raskin's come back, he's been slightly pushed aside, and I think he's still offering me the same stuff. It's just there's better players in that position at the moment, but he has levelled off, and injuries hasn't helped him. But I would still give him 6. I think he is a very good squad player to have, and I think he will play important minutes.
Yeah, and played big games for us up throughout the season. Right, Robin Proper, Scott, I think with you.
Probably go with a 6, but if it was 4 weeks ago, I probably gave him a 4. But I think he's another one that took time to settle. He played most of his career, if not all his career, in Holland. He came to Scotland. It looked like he lacked pace. It looked to be a bit of physicality, and then we were all saying he wasn't worth the money. We were all saying he was a waste of space. But over the last 4 to 5 weeks, he's turned performances in, and he's done really well. And he's adapting to the game. He's adapting to the way we play, especially in Europe. He does really well. So it's good to see it. He's actually looked at the game to see maybe how he can do it, improve himself. He's done that, and he's maybe tweaked his game a bit. But I'm enjoying him in the team. I think he does okay for us, and I think he can do better because he's very experienced in what he does. So I would give him a 6.
Ricky?
I don't want to agree with Scott because he's been absolutely out with the machine gun all night, giving me that in the chat. But he took the words right out of my mouth. That was exactly what I was going to say. 6, starting to settle. I think that's a perfect summarisation of where he is. And if we're going for next season and we need 4 centre backs, we need 5 centre backs. But if you've got Nsiala and Fernandez is two young guys, and then Suter and Proper is two older, experienced guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be against that. So he is starting to settle. I would have sold him a few weeks ago, but now I'm starting to see the merits of give him another season if he wants to stay and he likes it here. Then I see the merits of giving him a second season to see if he can really settle in and be a big part of the squad, because you can't have too many young guys, and he's a good experienced pro. He's a good guy as well. You can tell he's a good guy around the place, you know. He's got that Dutch laid backness.
No, definitely. It's kind of got that leadership qualities. It's kind of
Yeah.
mature, and you can see that when he's right. Hamza, Igaman, or Igamani, as he used to be called back in the day.
9. Absolutely outstanding, mate. I mean, absolutely. The not fans that give him when he plays bad, that get on his back, get an effing grip, you know. It must be hard for the guy. He's been linked with Tottenham, he's been linked with Everton, you know. I mean, this gets translated for him, so it's been tough for the guy. He's been absolutely sensational. The best young player we've seen from out of the woods, from nowhere, in a long, long time at Rangers, and I hope we can keep him I would like to keep him for 2 more seasons and then trade him in. So nine for me, 9 for me, outstanding. The goals scored, the way that he plays with a swagger, the moustache, the black boots, the man is perfection. You couldn't draw a better footballer.
Scott, any words that could top that?
I'll just say a 9, and he's going to get better.
Right, Vaclav, Cherny, he talked about it a few times. So, Ricky.
Yeah, no, for me, 8 or a 9. I think numbers and assists, you know. So he's a numbers machine. So okay, he might drift in and out of games. So I would go 8.5. I'll go 8.5. I didn't know about allowed 0.5, so I'll go 0.5. I'll go 8.5. 8.5 for me, and I would pay the money. I don't care what anyone says. That's my opinion, and you can bazooka my sell-on values, all this. I'm paying 6.7 million for him for sure, you know, and we'll chuck in a free Volkswagen.
Scott, you can do 0.5 or any decimal place you want.
I'll give him an 8 just because he's so important at times, what he offers us going forward, his assists and his goals. And he did another player that took him a wee bit to say it. One, he's had bad games where he's getting a wee bit of abuse for the crowd and stuff like that. But he doesn't hide Gary. I know. I thought against the European game he didn't look fit, but he still gave everything he had. And if he had the money, yeah, I would pay it. But it's if you've got the money, you'd rather would have paid one player or bring it in a couple of players. It's you have to wait till it's something to see. But yeah, I think Tierney's probably an 8, maybe more than that. But I think he's done really, really well. Especially he's on loan, and you know what Seamer done on loan? He cared and he proved himself. And we couldn't hold on to him, and Tierney's doing exactly the same thing. You can see he cares. You can see it. He wants to win. You can see he's a winner, and that's the thing you want. And yeah, he's really good. He's better than I thought he would have been when he came in, to be honest.
No, and probably the last one really is hefty. Quite an interesting one. I've left him at the end because he's quite interesting to some extent.
I'll say 7, to be honest. I'll say 7, and I think he is raw, very raw still. I think people overhype him at times, but I do see he carries the ball really well, but his final ball at times is absolutely dreadful. He needs to work on his final ball. And the other thing is defending, his concentration at times. But for me, that's 2 things that are super coachable. So for me, I'm very happy with him. He wasn't supposed to play as many games as he has. He's been chucked in. Yilmaz is all over the place again. We paid $4.5 million for him. Complete disaster. So Yefte has been a perfect signing, and he's played a lot more games than we probably thought he was going to. So for me, a solid. I've forgotten what I said. 7 now.
7. Scott, last for you.
I'll say a 6. You can see he's on and needs to develop a few things, but he can do that. But he's played more than I thought he would have played this season, Gary. I thought he'd have been in and out. Maybe I'd try and get more game time. Obviously, he's injury prone, so he's done really well. But he will improve. He's still young. I think it's his only first or second season at professional level, so I like what I see. But I think he's one of these guys, he will make his money because clubs like attacking fullbacks with pace, and he's got that. So that's why I think Chelsea's ready to spot him. Because listen, if Chelsea come in, or any club in England come in and say, we'll give you 6, 8, 10 million for him, that's a lot of money to us, but it's not a lot of money to them. They can buy him for that. If he doesn't even play a game for Chelsea, they'll probably sell him for a profit anyway. That's what happens down there. So I think he will make his money.
And
Dream
the last
scenario.
one, sorry.
Sorry, dream scenario, Gary, for me would be we get 6-7 for Yefty, spend that on Cherney and sign that another left back, maybe Penrice from Hearts or somebody like that. That for me would be a perfect summer because I think it's easier to find a left back than it is a right winger who gives you numbers like Cherney does. So that would be good business for me.
And the last one I've not mentioned, but I think we'll give him probably a 5 or 6. Liam Kelly does what he says in the tin. He's there to be a backup keeper. He's a decent squad player.
Oh, I'm going to be controversial here. I don't think he's good. I want to see. I think Butland needs a player that's actually good enough to challenge him to be the number one. If we can find a younger keeper, Kelly for me is just a typical happy to sit on the bench number 2, and he has done. Listen, he's done the job. Number 6 is fine. 5, 6, no problem. He's done the job. Rangers man. He's happy. He's no kicking up a stink. But I would like to see us find a young keeper that's actually good enough to properly, like when Butland's having the form that he's having just now, like Kelly. Butland, a bad Butland is still better than Kelly in the team. I don't think that's the way that we should have a number 1 and number 2 at Rangers. I think our number 2 should be a player that's good enough to challenge the number 1 if he plays well, So for me, I'd like to see that. And Munn is has got a lot of potential, but even in the cup game, he's very, very young. Nobody's gonna bung in an 18, 19-year-old goalkeeper and have him as your number 1. So for me, Kelly's done what he says on the tin, but I would like to see better.
So, Scott, the reason I've done that was I was thinking about it earlier on. Obviously, we talk about transfer windows and the excitement of buying new players, but I suppose it just made me think when you look through most of those players, none of them have failed at this moment in time. There's ones that could do a little bit better, but they've all been relatively positive signings. And I think most fans think each of them have got something to offer the team at the moment.
I think when you look at the Gary, we're looking at the players' on performances and what we see, but if we're still here in a couple of years and we win nothing, then you're looking back and saying they were all a waste of money because you're not winning. Do you know that way? So it depends how you look at a player's performances. If it's on trophies, is it on performances? And since they've come in, could they do better? Of course they could. They all could have. But have they performed well? They have performed well at times. Like a man's performed really well. Lefty's been up and down, but he's been consistent on the left-hand side and Poplar's getting better. So we can see improvement with Sullivan. Kearney's been getting better with his numbers. I mean, so there's improvement there, but until we start winning things on a regular basis, then that's when kind of people start to get judged. Because same with all teams, you get judged on what you won. That's how Tavernier always gets criticised. He's played 500 games, but people say he's this or that because he's not won the league. He's not won one league title. So I think it's just how you look at players. And the window's been okay this season. It's somewhere in now, but we do need better in some positions. We do need to trust the youth in some positions. But the force of all, Gary, I know Europe's great and everybody loves the European one. We all do, and going to games away and going to games at Ibrox, and especially on a Thursday night, and hopefully we can get to this final. But I want a domestic challenge. We can only had one for a while, and that's what's pissing me off.
No, I mean, I suppose the point of trying to make, we're rebuilding, and rebuilding, you need to change the way of the past. And if we're content with the signings we've got so far, gets us on the right track. Now, it maybe take as long as we want. It's already taken us longer than we want potentially, but we are very reactionary as a support. We're very critical as a support. Things maybe just sometimes reflecting that we've maybe made some decent choices as we look to build. As we go into the next, tomorrow, when everybody's complaining there was enough signings made, there's been some positives over the course of the year. So just before we finish, Ricky, transfer deadline day. And I said at the start, I'm going to ask you what your favourite memory of transfer deadline may be.
Well, you've got a two. So Kent, when we signed him with all that nonsense with his brother on X, was amazing, that transfer. But Aaron Ramsey, I remember the reporters at the airport and everything, and nobody could believe it was happening. He was a disaster of a signing in the end, but nobody could believe it because of the wages he was on. I think he was on 150k a week. And everyone was trying
400k, something bonkers,
something ridiculous he was getting on it, and nobody could work out how we were managing to pay for it. So it was a very, very. But all the stuff on following the planes, and then people at the airport still staring through the fence and taking pictures of STV reporter. That was hilarious. That I love stuff like that. I just find that I wasn't really involved that much with this transfer window because I didn't think we'd do much business. But normally I'm writing about all the chat and finding out who we're signing and all the rumours because there's always so many stupid rumours. So, but for me, that was the one that sticks in the memory. Barry Ferguson coming back was obviously huge at that time as well. I remember that. That was because it was like him coming home and stuff like that. So yeah, some good ones through the years.
And I said earlier on that for those that weren't watching at the time, Barry Ferguson, 20 years ago, just this week, it was that seemed 20 years have passed. That seems like yesterday watching it. I was phoned by. Scott, anyone that jump out to you?
Always remember the Stephen Naismith signing. I know he's not everybody's favourite at the moment, our cup of tea just now because of what happened, but always remember, I was very, very late in the window, if I remember rightly, and always wanted him to come to Rangers because I always thought he was a really good footballer, and he proved to be. Obviously, the way he left wasn't great, but I mean, it's difficult because I always remember Barry Ferguson coming back, and then Aaron Ramsey was just a facade, wasn't it? It was nothing really else. We've got somebody called Aaron Ramsey who was a good player before. Now we've signed him and he's crap, that way, and it's just a waste of total money. But it's good. It's the transfer window. I don't think it's as good as it used to be. I used to be watching all day in Sky and stuff like that, and you would see all different things behind the people talking and Peter Odemwingie chasing Harry Redknapp and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Can he sign me? But I think it's different nowadays, isn't it? So, but no, it's good. And when your team's not saying anybody, it's not great. But when you see other stuff, but even just now, I think just because there's not as much money in football. I know there's a lot of football money in England, but even they're getting caught out. They can't buy players because PSR and stuff like that. So, but it's good to see. But I see him. The Naismith won, Barry Ferguson won, but Jim White was always involved. But he's not my favourite person at the moment because he usually slags us off more now than he used to.
So, and as you say, transfer deadline isn't what it once was. It's mostly loan signings and people moving about.
I'm just Mo Johnson, but I didn't include that because it wasn't like it was transfer window on the tea. I was just looking back to stuff you could see when you're watching. Obviously,
no deadlines back then, no deadlines those days.
Mo Johnson one. I remember the Mo Johnson one getting picked with Billy McNeil. Remember that he was signing for Celtic, and a couple of days later he's just finished with Mike, what's happened? Then there's Celtic fans not happy, there's Rangers fans not happy. You're like, what's the world coming to? But he was a great signing, man. Mo Johnson, I have to say,
a different time, wasn't it? You know, when you get a phone call from your dad or whatever it is to tell you on the old ringing up phone to tell you you need to see what's happening here. There wasn't no internet, no news, no teletext was still a big thing. You had to go and check that. You know, that was when
the other one is well, when you get up to Ibrox and everybody looked like Eminem.
It was hilarious, man.
Because he blonde their Gaza and everybody's going up, and that was amazing saying in Gaza. So it was didn't get so much a fanfare. But Gaza, because of who he was larger than life character, and it was just amazing when he signed for us.
The Walter Smith story about going to his house in Italy and just knocking on the gate, and then he's driving a quad bike and he's fearing for his life, driving him into the house, and do you want to come and sign for Rangers, son? And he's like, okay, no problem. And just amazing. The days were the glory days, man. That was Gaza was box office. You don't get much more box office than him, you know.
Even when Souness took over, I mean, all the players were signing, Butcher, Woods, they're all English internationals. Butcher, the captain of England, and you're thinking, people were looking at us thinking, how can they afford them? How can they bring their players for England up to Scotland and the captain of England, English international goalkeeper? At the time, people couldn't believe that Rangers were doing that. Do you know what I mean? So when you look back there, the players who managed to sign in, Avacat came in with all the Dutch people he brought in. Some of the signings we made in the past have been great, and now we're sitting arguing about Robin Proper.
Exactly. Crazy. The world has changed. But what I wanted to do is, before you ruin that for a moment, there was finishing a positive note, thinking about some of those signings, thinking about some of the players. So there's another hour and 20 minutes of transfer deadline. If you want to go and watch, don't be expecting much to happen. Don't see anything there, but there may be the odd transfer across some of the divisions. I doubt it will be for Rangers. We will be back on Friday night when we will be previewing the Queen's Park game, I suppose. You know, there's probably not going to be a lot to talk about in terms of that. It's weird. No game this week, so we're not back again to Friday. There's nothing happened. We've been in the midst of 2 games a week for months. It was constantly talk about a game, look at the next game. So we will try and maybe find some other topics. We'll try and find some other interesting stuff to pick up on rather than just talking about the game. So Thank you for contributing. Please like, share, and subscribe, guys. We will see you on Friday. Cheers, Ricky. Cheers, Scott. See you soon. Bye now.